Good morning, Sonder family. Welcome, everyone. It's so nice to see you. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. I get to be your on-screen facilitator this Monday morning. It's really, really great to welcome you. We've got some surprise folks. Nicole is home from school. Did they just can't get to school, huh, Nicole? It's so cold. We have cold everywhere. It's even cold here in Texas. We had a hard freeze last night, and we'll be up to 77 later this week. So that's in the Dallas area. Crazy, crazy. Joining me on the call this morning, you have Team Jennifer. We're back, and we laughed because we haven't seen each other in so long. And if you notice, we logged on and we're realigned. We're back together again. So we're both in red, trying to celebrate this. Jennifer Krippner is going to be hanging out in the chat, sharing links along the way, giving you support if you have any questions that might come up. I love this little tree graphic. It was buried deep in my computer files. And here's what I really love is that some of you were saying you were a combination of one of two or three of these trees. And I think that's such a good call out because it reminds us that we can be one thing and feel another thing, right? It's all a mixed bag. So I am leaning into optimistic and hopeful this week. That's going to be my little tree that I'm going to hang out to. Yeah, Jennifer, minus 25-degree below temps. Isn't that crazy? So, yeah, maybe some of those words that you see there could be something that you take into your week about how you want to feel when we start working on our weekly setup. So, if any of those speak to you, maybe get a little post-it note and write that down. Alrighty, so make sure your chat is set to everyone. That's how we'll communicate. I see lots of communication happening. Those of you who have been a longtime member of the Sonder family are all checking in with each other. If there's anybody here at a weekly setup for the very first time, drop a me in the chat because we want to give you a welcome. We are each other's accountability buddies. We come to these setups because it really does help us take our journal and keep, just keep on that path of self-discovery and our emotional wellness. And we do that with each other so that we can hang out together and support one another. So that chat is going to be real important to make sure that it is set to everyone. And then if you are new, jump in as you are comfortable. It looks like oh, yay, Christy's new here today. Welcome, Christy. We're so glad that you joined us, and we hope that we keep seeing you come back again to utilize this journal in the very best way that you can. I'm going to give you lots of ideas today. Most of these folks here well, that's okay. You just come when you can. You can log off early. This is being recorded, so you'll be able to access this as well as over 1,000 other recordings on the Silk and Sonder YouTube channel. So you'll want to grab that link. Jennifer will drop that in a minute so you can grab that. So it's so good. Yeah, I'm seeing all these good familiar faces and names. So, want to make sure that I call out our exclusive event with Meha on this Thursday evening, and I'll get to be in the chat for that event. So I'm very excited about it. I always get a big boost when I've hung out with Meha, and she reminds us. She's just got that passion for Silk and Sonder. So, oh gosh. Okay, Marley, that I'm glad you are shouting that out. It took you a second to log in since you had to make a new Zoom account with the email that you use for Silk and Sonder. Y'all, if you have trouble logging in, make sure that you do have a Zoom account set up with that same email, and it will make your logging in for these events. It should make it mostly seamless. That's real important to remember. Anyway, so Thursday evening, end of year wrap up, kind of a renewal. We're going to celebrate that we've made it almost all the way through 2025 and have our glasses on looking ahead at 2026 and what it's going to bring us, what we want from that new year. So there's a nominal fee for this exclusive event, but it will be well worth the price of admission. And then you will also always be able to access the recording of those exclusive events. It goes to a different channel, and you'll have that ability to watch that anytime. All right. So I'm going to invite you to look at either the bottom of this past week's, if you haven't filled this part in, the I am loving box. So that might be on page 33 if it's still blank, or maybe you like to do this like me on a Monday. It kind of sets my week up. What are you currently loving? We want you to drop that in the chat. You might have a new recipe that you tried, a new show that you're binge watching. Maybe you got to hang out with some people and you just loved that time. Drop in the chat because I think this is a great way to start our time together. Christy loves feeling more productive. That is such a good feeling when we have that direction to go. You always say your husband, Trixie, I love that. And Trixie, remind me, are you the person who leaves the blank space and he writes you a note in it every week? I'm thinking that might be you. Someone does that, and I think that's really, really sweet. Not it is not you at last. Okay, somebody does that. They leave like their shopping list and their husband writes them a note every week. Like that's his space. Write me a note, sweetie, and give me some words of affirmation. And I just love that. I couldn't remember who did that, but it's such a great communication tool. So that could be a hint for one of these spaces in your weekly setup is leave it blank and have your significant other write you some words of inspiration. So, Amanda, you're so sweet. I am loving Team Jennifer. I love that. Thank you. You're very, very kind. Yeah. So, what are you loving? Y'all have heard me talk about it. We stayed up late and watched Landman last night. We're loving that because I've shared with y'all before, my son-in-law was Billy Bob Thornton's costumer for the series, and so we have to support, but it's so good this season. Anyway, so I'm loving Landman this week, and he's so hilarious, and he's got the best one-liners in there. But what else are you loving? Loving slowing down into the wintering season for sure. For sure. Time with your girls, Heather. I love that. I know many of you may be welcoming some college kiddos home, loving Christmas movies. Joanna, I've had Christmas movies on repeat as I've just been wrapping and doing hobbies, and isn't it fun? They're so sweet. They make you feel good. Nicole loves her new nightgown because of pockets. We love pockets. All right, y'all, worry worms. Yes, for the worry worms. I love that. Y'all are amazing. So thank you for sharing those things that you are loving. Spending Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah to those of you. It's the last night was the first night, I believe, correct? The I love the Festival of Lights. We are all about the light at Silk and Sonder. So happy Hanukkah to those of you who are doing that. I hope that your week is calm and beautiful and inspirational. There are the community guidelines we share when we're together. And basically, it's about keeping us all safe with each other and taking care of ourselves. You can always, if you've got any questions, email hello@silkandsonder.com to our amazing customer care at headquarters. And just again, that final reminder that these are safe spaces and we want you to make sure you're taking really good care of yourself. We have our theme of renewal at the end of the year instead of at the beginning, and I love that. And so I said, I'll leave this quote up. It seems like everything sleeps in winter, but it's really a time of renewal and reflection. And I'm really envisioning the idea of the trees outside. I've shared that with y'all that, we look at these bare trees, the leaves are gone, and we just think, nothing's going on, but inside there's all that internal work happening. And I think we can really, really embrace the idea of being the tree and working on all the internal stuff so that we are ready to bloom later when the spring comes and show our fullness in the summer. And I love that. Lori, we send out just beautiful, beautiful thoughts for your sister in surgery. That's frightening. Thank you for letting us carry that with you this morning and being part of that. That's a lot of good juju that is now in the air for her. I hope all goes well. And if you hear anything before we're done, drop that in the chat. Let us know. Alrighty, this morning we're going to work on our mind map. If you are brand new, it is your bonus prompt for coming to these weekly setups. It's not found in your journal, and we are currently on week 3 of our mind map. So far we've had 3 questions. Anybody who's new can grab a screenshot if you want to go back and do the reflections on the other 2 weeks, but you also can just jump right into week 3. There, nobody's grading this, so you. So we're going to work on our renewal mind map, the rosebud thorn reflection, and then our weekly setup. So the mind map, as you know, is done at an extra space in your journal, a notes page, an extra journal. You might have a little sidekick journal that you put this kind of stuff in. And we have been looking at that renewal focus and celebrating our progress over perfection, really leaning into what we've done rather than what we've not done, to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and making that space to move forward. So here are 3 weeks worth of questions. So grab the screenshot. I will also go back through these slides while you're working on this. Week 1 was, what was the favorite thing you've done for your own self-care this year? And it could have been little or small. And we reflected on the why. Why was that your favorite? Last week, we looked at like a goal we had set and where, how we were celebrating the progress, however little bit it was. Maybe we haven't gotten to that goal yet. Maybe it's a goal that got put on the back burner, but this sparked a renewal to jump back into it. So we explored that. And then this week is, what is something you've learned about yourself this year? Maybe you learned something about your needs, your strengths, your growth, and changes, or something else. And don't worry, I'll go back through all of these. So here's my mind map this week. I told y'all I was inspired by somebody who did ornaments, and I thought they were so cute. So I did mine as ornaments, and mine is done on the very last page of the journal, so I can easily, flip to it and find it right away. But we also gave you some tips of where you could do that. And I'll share kind of what I thought about. I said, my big learning this year has been centered around control. I always say I'm a control freak. I like to have everything lined up. But really, I said, or rather about letting go of control. I've been working on this most of my adult life, but have made strides through my Al Anon work. And it's helped me realize I have agency and I am the one who controls my responses and how I view the world and the people in it. And so my job is to take care of Jennifer and not try to control everybody else. And, kind of like, Mel Robbins has her new book that's just tearing through the bestseller, the Let Them Theory. And it really is so much about that circle of control and what you can and can't control. And really, we can only control ourselves. So that's been my learning. I've known it my whole life, my whole adult life, but really done some deep work through I have alcoholics in my life. I'm an adult child of an alcoholic who died young, lost my dad when I was 20 to alcohol. And someone very close to me has been having a big struggle this year, and it made me dive back into that Al-Anon work. And it's been really good for me because it really is about control. So that was my learning. Feel free to share your learning in the chat. And Nicole, it's really all good because it's helped me grow. Um, you know, it's those things it's the thorns that we grow the most from. And so it's good for me to be able to work through that and just love people for who they are and where they are, but yet always take care of me first. So anyway, all right, friends, let's work on this and then we'll get going with our setup. All right. I know that you are probably still kind of thinking about this. You don't have to finish everything this morning. I want to make sure we have plenty of time to take care of this. The things that you all have shared so authentic, and I think we are so lucky to be able to do these deeper dives into who we are and what drives us and what motivates us and then the growth, the constant growth. That's one of the things, is as you get to a second season of your life, that constant growth is so important. We should always be learning about ourselves and moving forward to embrace whatever life is bringing us. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, the let them theory has been I'll tell you what I love about the let them theory is that a lot of what is the the mindset around the let them theory really is recovery work, and we are all in some type of recovery, right? Life brings us things that make it tough, and so it doesn't hurt for anybody to take a step back and learn how to work on themselves and put themselves first, and that really is about that whole recovery journey. And so Mel was able to, I think, bring that to the masses, and I love, love, love that. So anyhow, yeah, thank y'all for all sharing about, the things that you are working on and being reminded of, about how amazing you are. So, we're going to do two exercises this morning as we're looking at our rosebud thorn reflection time. First, I want to point out the little graphic there about just sending love. This is the holiday season, the season of light. Some of you looking forward to sending love to the folks who might be having some hard times during this time. And I wanted just to throw this graphic in there to kind of tie in to that thorn that you might be looking at this week. So the thorns are the things that have brought us some hard times, maybe some struggles. There might be this thorn that's been there all year long. It's not going anywhere. And so you're really working on, what do I learn from this? How can I learn from this? So just that reminder that it's okay to maybe acknowledge that that thorn is there. Your bud is going to be what you're looking forward to in this upcoming week. And, the thing that's giving you inspiration and hope. And then, of course, the rose, that's the stuff you're celebrating, those things that brought you so much joy or extreme gratitude. And it can be tiny things. And we're finding it in the magic of the holiday season. For me, I'm just constantly reminded in the holidays that light overcomes dark. No matter what, because there's so many lights everywhere. And just love that. But I had some fun Christmas events last week. So that was my rose. And my daughter's going to be flying in tonight from a trip. And then she's hanging here. She's not going home. So I get to spend some time with her, just her this week. And then my thorn is we're waiting on some medical stuff with my husband. So I'm trying to circle of control, right? And just wait to hear all of that. So, Chrissy, that's a great question. These are reflections over our past week. And then it helps us kind of know what we want, how we can frame out our week. What are we going to bring forward, and maybe what we can leave behind? And so we would be on page 36 in our journal, which is that rosebud thorn reflection for the previous week, week 50. Make sure I got my page right. Yes. So yeah, we kind of look back over our week. And then secondly, while you're working on this, I'm going to give you a little bit extra time to pop over to page 39 and do kind of a little mid-month. We're like middle of the month now today. Let's take a look at our currently page. And I'm going to invite you to go look at your intentions that you set a couple of weeks ago. Those intentions that are on in the front of your journal. I think our intentions are on page 8, if I remember. No, page 9. And so maybe check in with yourself, see how you're doing there, and answer a few of these questions, share a few of these things in the chat. But I like being able to do this mid-month check-in. Now, I know some of y'all, we have 3 lines for each one of these things. Maybe you do a weekly check-in at the end of every week and you kind of finish that. And so you use a line every week. So you could also do that. But we're going to work on both of these pages during this time. And we'd love for you to share in the chat what's going on in your world. And if you need a little extra support, just like Lori asking us about, sending good vibes for her sister, drop that in the chat. Let us come together as a community. And then we'll get on with the rest of our setup. There really isn't anything better than getting a call back from a doctor saying that there's no more cancer, that it's gone. We're celebrating that for you, Jennifer. And I know there's, man, this time of year, right? It just hits. And when you have folks in your life go silent and you're not hearing from them, there's a grief journey there with whatever's going on. So we're sorry for those things. Jennifer Krippner shared that her puppy had hip surgery and he's doing better. So we're so glad for that. And remember that sometimes your rosebud thorn can be the very all one thing is all three things. But there's, uncertain feelings that are out there. Ariel shared, she's not real sure about her career right now, and that can just kind of overwhelm all the other things that are going on. Thank y'all for sharing. Anyway, I love this. Alice, thanks for being authentic and opening up that, depression, anxiety surrounding the holidays, all those expectations that we put on ourselves can feel overwhelming. So, y'all, thank you for just supporting each other in that. And, you can continue to work on that. Um, but anyway, yeah. Thank you for working on that and kind of taking a look too at this currently page. If you didn't get it done or didn't start, maybe, a little time, put a little slot in your planning so that you can check in with yourself this week and make sure you're feeling like you wanted to feel when you set those intentions. So, anyway, so we're going to be working on drum roll the next to the last week of 2025, if you can believe that. It's week 51. And we're going to be on pages 40 and 41. Just so fun that we're here together. So I've made this big old long list of the many ways you can use any of these spaces in your journal. If you want to grab a screenshot, you could do that. But I always tell you, I will repurpose a space in the spring and summer and most of the fall for my gardening because that's just a real important part of what I do. So I always have a gardening space. But you are invited to use the pages just as they are. You probably already have your own cadence to how you're going to set it up. But these are some great suggestions. And then I've also got some great things for some ideas from our Sonder family to share with you. So we always want to start with how do we want to feel this week and embracing that feeling and think about that thorn that you shared with us. What is a great way to turn that thorn around? Maybe lean into that as you determine the feeling for the week. How can you well, anyway, normally I would, because my thorn was I'm anxious about like my husband's medical stuff, I would want to feel peace. But I got a different word because I'm embracing the Advent journey. So I'll show you mine. But look at that thorn. Is there a way you can counter that thorn with a feeling, anxiety free? That's a good one. Merry and feeling the holiday spirit. I love that, Sonia. You can see we've got rested, and then I've put mine here. This was last week, and I wanted to feel peace because that was the basically the word of the second week of Advent. This week's word is joy. And so my page has been I've started setting my page up for that. And yeah, so we're gonna be doing that this week. And then we've got these are just great examples of I wanted to show you like the one on the left. We've got the three goals are in the weekly to-dos where it says homework and me. And then they've kind of put the to-dos around that. And then they use their goal space for just some good reminders of how they want to frame out their week. I use my three goals as the questions I wanted to ask myself on a daily basis through my Advent journey. And then we've got the habits and activities for both the example on the left as well as my page. We did not set goals. We just kind of tracked as we went along. So I always love love to share, real pages. It's kind of like my show and tell for the week of everybody. So thank you for dropping your stuff in Sonder Gloves so we could see your setup. And I don't know about you, we have laughed so hard. My husband and I have an advent calendar, so we eat a little Hershey Kiss every night. It's a little frame thing that's got little compartments, and we read a devotional and then eat a chocolate. And but my husband said one chocolate's not enough, and he went and bought a whole bag of Hershey Kisses, and they were gone in 2 days. But I had to laugh because that little graphic, according to my chocolate advent calendar, there are only 3 days till Christmas. So that's how we're kind of feeling now. Anyway, okay, let's look at our three goals for the week, major goals. You don't have to have three goals. You can have one, you can have none. You can reuse this space and get your to-dos done. Love this graphic. December, declutter, detach, and delete anything that devalues your life. So maybe that will speak to you. Um, Maybe you do a declutter, detach, and delete as your three goals. You can go check in with that intentions page, set your goals through the lens of renewal, look at your previous weeks. We're kind of now mid-month. What's not happened that you'd like to see happen? And then you can always repurpose this space. And like this person, celebrate my birthday. That was their goal for the week. So it's really taking what you need. The example on the left is from, when you look up there, you can focus on three categories, and lots of us do that. We'll put three categories in and then just plug in that goal so you can see how they did mind, body, and soul. But I also gave you a collective of many three category words you can put in there. Love the things to remember during the holidays. Those are a great landing or starting point. What does setting realistic expectations look like if you are using that as one of your goals or committing to your boundaries? And I'll go back through these while you're working on this page. Now, this is a very old graphic, but I always love to bring it around every now and then because this person, for their goal, actually, they had one goal, and that goal was to unplug. And they gave themselves a little menu in the form of a bingo board of ways that they could unplug, so that they can put that phone down. And here's the things, setting themselves up for success. But also look down in the habit and activity tracker. They are checking in with themselves. Five times is the goal for that week, and they're pointing themselves right back to that unplug menu. And so I always um, like that self accountability built into the page. So perhaps you set yourself up with something like that, with a check-in and that little menu to pull from. So every once in a while I bring this one back because I think it's pretty neat on how it's all tied together. And then we'll look at our weekly to-dos. And you saw this one. I love this little graphic. And these are kind of open-ended to do. So, hang up old mindsets, trust yourself. Are these some things you need to put in writing to remind yourself that you need to focus on having fun or accepting your imperfections? Just love that. Now, when we do a to-do list, we want to go very concrete. We want to make sure that it's easy to accomplish because you've written it out in a very concrete manner. And then you're going to assign a priority to your task. So, really focusing on those priorities and plan time. So I like to schedule in, like, at 11 o'clock, I'm going to go work on my closet for 20 minutes. Group those tasks together. Sometimes that's how you set up your goals. You might do like home, self, and work. Those are your three goals. And then you group your tasks under each one of those. And then number five, list only as many items as can be realistically accomplished in a day, in a week. So that reminder to take little bites and little steps toward achieving what you need to get done. Cross them off and then start over again. Like those to-do lists never end. We've got a couple of examples here. The one at the top is the three goals are tied into the to-dos. The to-dos are inspired by those three goals. So you can see bring joy to others through connection, and their to-dos are going to host a coffee meetup and then send a heartfelt note to someone. The one below that, it's just all the tasks broken down day by day. Instead of clean the house as the thing to do. It's broken down. I'm going to dust on Monday. I'm going to water my plants on Tuesday. So again, that kind of concrete tasks, it's been scheduled out. So that's a good one. And then, some more examples of folks dividing their to-do list up into different areas of their life. It just helps, again, sort it out, categorize it, helps you make the priorities. And then bringing this one back up this year, the holiday to-do list. So perhaps you just need to write this down somewhere to remind yourself of how to be mindful through the week, or you could just throw a sticker in your to-do. I love those two stickers there, the little cup and the hot kettle. That's good. Or a to-don't list. And then we always say, make a to-do list where you celebrate the things maybe you've already done. You accomplish a task, you go write it down and cross it out. There's a lot of satisfaction in being able to see it. Perhaps you create a bingo for your to-do list. There's that to not do list. So maybe you need to be reminded of, don't try to multitask. Stay focused. Don't focus on the negative. Don't listen to that inner critic. So, some of those things, writing them down in these spaces can bring a lot of power to your page. Or you do something like a reflection, like the one you see in the right. What are the three most important tasks of each day in the coming week? And you might go put those on your weekly spread. And then you do that. Where can you schedule time for rejuvenation or refilling your energy? So I'm going to do this, but I'm going to refill by doing this and that mindfulness. And then what's the smallest possible step forward you can take to see momentum and connect with your why? And your whys can be found in that intention page that you did. So perhaps you ask yourself those questions on the daily. And let's work on this real quick, and then we'll go work on our habits and activities. So, share what you're going to be doing this week and how you're setting up these spaces, or if you're doing any kind of a repurpose. Y'all are cracking me up because my coffee is ice cold. I think I need one of those warmers. That's amazing, Nicole. Just plug it in, keep it going, everything stays warm. So now we're going to drop down to the bottom section of this. This is our habit and activity tracker, our habity tracker, as our facilitator friend Maya called it one time. She was talking too quickly and she turned it into habities. And so these are those things we want to do on the daily, maybe a couple of times a week. This one is so versatile because maybe you've got something going on that's just twice this week, and you can put that down and circle that. I love these habits of happy people. Loved, love, love this graphic. It's those good reminders that I think it's what we all intend to do, like move our body and practice gratitude and eat nourishing foods. So that's a good graphic if you want to grab some info from there for your habities. And then I was talking about the trees, and there's that quote from Rumi that I love just the image that this one brings. And don't think the garden loses its ecstasy in the winter. It's quiet, but the roots are down there riotous. And that's that internal stuff that's happening with us. And I love that graphic so, so much. Anyhow, then I wanted to remind you that when we set those habits and those activities up, we're setting it up for the two versions of us, the current version and the future version. And this is such a good reminder about what you do in the present rewards and blesses future you. So, I love this. It started with lunch, and then she's sitting there eating her lunch as future her. She says, "Oh, past Fran is the best." And then, like, she made the bed. Future Fran is going to appreciate this so much. And then future Fran walks in, and her room is all reset. So, I love that. Hey, Radhika, glad you're here. But I love that reminder because current Jennifer does not like to reset the kitchen at night. But man, future Jennifer, when she wakes up in the morning and walks into that fresh, clean kitchen and just hits the button on the coffee maker, such a good, good feeling. And remember, we can't practice compassion with other people if we're not kind to ourselves. So we want to be kind to future us. So this is a great space to do that. Like, what do you need to do for future you that can go in this space? And you can see the many ways that these habits and activities have been set up. You can track the goal number, but you don't have to set a goal. I did one week where it was a just say no week, and I decluttered and I cleaned, and that example is there at the bottom. And I kind of gamified it with the 5 things, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, you don't have to fill in every line like the one you see over there in the middle left, just tracking 3 things this week. So it's really about taking what you need. And then we've got some ideas for this space. Let me put on just a smidge of music while you do that, and then we're going to go tackle page 2. righty. And you know what, Lori, it is okay to be distracted. I'm glad that you're here. And some weeks our pages may be blank, and that is part of our story. It's not a thing, to be worried about. So we're glad you're here, and just that good reminder that maybe this isn't the week that all the spaces get filled out, that you sort of take just what you need. And it might just be that you need to sit and do a brain dump every day. And that is what this journal is for meeting you where you are. Now we're going to jump over to this second page, and I got a whole bunch of stuff to show you as usual. And as usual, I talk too much. So I'm going to go kind of fast so that I've got some fun graphics that might inspire one of these spaces for you. As you know, this page tends to get repurposed a bit. And so anything I'm showing you, like I may be showing you something under the meal plan, but you might choose to put that in the shopping list. So it can be put anywhere in here. But here's a couple of great examples from y'all that I have grabbed for our time together today. Really like looking at this one over here on the left. It's got the sticker above it that says Discover Yourself. And then what are they working on? Well, the first Monday says set a boundary. Tuesday was share authentically. Wednesday, take initiative. So sort of that mindset, and then kind of how it happened, what happened with that. So really appreciated that. Anyway, Erotica, you're so sweet. You say that is completely different what my husband would say. And then we've got like over there on the right, the meal plan's being used as a daily schedule. And we've got a little renewal corner for the Mind Body Health Plan. And then the holiday needs. And this person just made me happy because cookies and candy canes and gift wrap. I love that. So let's take a look. We've got lots of, again, some more ways to use this journal. And so here's what it looks like if you maybe set it up for some nutritional needs. When I use this for food, it's usually my leftover tracker. So when, we're not questioning what we ate. Was that Monday? Was that Wednesday? How old is this? So I'll kind of go fill in the blank after the fact. But you can see daily to-do list this week with a little kind of mini prompt for each one of those days, a great appointment place, affirmations. One thing I love about myself today. That's a good reflection. Or maybe you do a midday check-in, like you see at that very bottom right. And if you're having some tough times, check in with yourself. Be mindful of doing that and thinking, how do I feel and what do I need? And that can help you with that. The Mind Body Health Plan, I always try to put something that's about my wellness in this space. So remember to pause to care for yourself. And here's some great, again, maybe a midday check-in about how did I nourish my mind, body, spirit. Maybe it's a bills to be paid. Maybe it's things that you want to do, a menu that you can check from for the week. Let's see. I'm bringing the halt back to to the front of mind this week. This is from the world of recovery, and it's about when you are feeling, out of whack. Ask yourself, am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Or am I tired? And when you address those four questions and you realize, okay, I'm not hungry, I am angry. And why is that? And so you do this little check, you pause, you take some deep breaths, you go to maybe your distractions menu that you have. Maybe you go color for a little bit. Maybe you put on some music. Maybe you make your body move by dancing. Yeah, all of the above. Um, but this is a really, really good way to check in with yourself, especially if things are feeling hard right now. This can be that little moment of just embracing halt and answering those questions and then figuring out what you need to reset. So I'll go back through these while you're doing this. Here's a positivity challenge that I thought could be kind of fun to embrace our the light during this week. Also, this is a made up word called Nestivus, but I love this. Maybe you need to celebrate a Nestivus day, a day of reprieve from the pressures of all the things to recharge. And then I've got this great graphic on a winter self-care day that I will come back to so you can grab that. I know, Mary Ellen, I don't like when we get to the end either. Here's some tips to boost your mental health, some other healthy holiday tips there. It's stuff we know, but we might need to be reminded. So work that into your setup. If sad is hitting you right now with the darkness and that just feeling, here are some nighttime things that you could do to kind of give yourself a little happiness. So some before bed routine things or ways to make your dark evenings, way to romanticize it instead of letting it take over and make you feel down. Yeah, Nestivus is so precious, isn't it? So I'll go back through that. And then our shopping list, you've seen some of these before, but just some reminders of how you can set that up. Got that Hugo graphic in. You're going to keep seeing it until, it starts warming back up. For me, that'll be Friday when it's 77. And then our self-care for December. Cute graphic. And then I am doing my advent calendar at the front of my journal. So I thought I'd just share that with you. And when I get the things done, I need to update, but I've been drawing in my little doodles when I did the thing. And then some acts of kindness. So let's finish out by going through these slides. And if you see something that you love, grab a screenshot of it so that you can throw that into your journal or save it for another week. Team Jennifer hopes that you have a wonderful week of renewal, of figuring out ways to continue to grow and embrace this very last part of 2025. We're proud of you for hanging out this morning, for sharing from your heart, for just being there for one another. It really is truly a privilege to be with y'all. So we'd love to see your setup in Sonder Club. Again, this has been recorded. Jennifer's dropping all the links in the chat, and you'll be able to rewatch this. And hopefully, you found a couple of new ideas to make your week filled with renewal and the spirit of the season. So we will see you soon, Sonder family. Thanks for being with Team Jennifer today. Have a great week.
And you ask me what I want this year, and I try to make this kind and clear. Just a chance that maybe we'll find better days. 'Cause I don't need boxes wrapped in strings and designer love and empty things. Just a chance that maybe we'll find better days. So take